TitleMatchNetwork.com.
When I took the deal with WCW, I remember the last show for Vince was in Madison Square Garden, the famous Woo, where we got in trouble and broke kayfabe. I really felt like I was just getting the money. I had no idea that NWO thing was going to blow up like it is. I had no idea we were even doing the NWO. I hadn't talked to Bischoff at all. It all been through lawyers and agents. And, I met him. I drove to Macon from Atlanta in the car with him.
When he pitched the idea to you guys, did you guys think in the back of your heads that it's going to get over as well as it did?
He pitched it to me, and
Kev came up with the finish at Bash at the Beach, and they made it so hot. And Hulk messed up the finish, a little bit. And we never got the 1, 2, 3.
Right.
But other than that, it was sweet.
Yeah, because they didn't have a third man. And I pitched the idea. I said, I called him. I said, what if we did this? And he said, oh, fuck. He said, that's money. So I pitched to Eric, and he pitched it to Hulk. And you can say what you want about Hulk, but Hulk ain't going to let that fucking money train leave without him getting a fucking seat on it. So, but when Eric came to my house and pitched me the NWO idea, I saw that. I still got that basketball vision. It was more of a twist. He came to my crib and we went out to the strip club and I was living in Phoenix then. It was the Bourbon Street Circus out in Phoenix. And he pitched the idea to me, and I thought, in my mind, like, yeah, that'll work because it's going to look like fucking we came over from Vince's TV. I mean, that's going to, it's really going to work. And I'm thinking, in my mind, fuck, legally, can we do that? Which obviously we couldn't.
I remember the first TV I was on, Bischoff was just going to send me down the aisle and have me go and do an interview, like I worked for WCW. And it was Larry Zbyszko's idea to send me through the crowd and interrupt a match, but not interrupted by jumping the guys. Just walk in and start talking and have the two guys work and go, oh, hey, Scott, what are you doing? We're having a match. No, this is more important. And I know that they're not going to jump me because they're not supposed to. So I just go and start talking. I don't even look at them. And that was all Zbyszko's idea. And I thought that was crucial because that hadn't been done.
No.
And I remember the only thing they told me to say, well, they told me a few things, but they said, you people know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. Because that was a big deal in the lawsuit that started that day.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys sense jealousy from WCW boys when you guys went over there and you guys started getting really over?
Well, fuck yeah. I mean, it was a situation. But it's the same thing that happened when we went back to Vince in 2002 or whatever it was. You walk in someplace and everybody's, pissed in their little spot, and you go in there and you get over because no matter what they want to say about Scott and I, the reason it always works is because it's real. I mean, you can put two guys together, but just like if two guys have that bond, it's just like, and they knew. I mean, the reason NWO worked is because fucking people would watch the show and go, well, that luchador shit and that, and this and all that, but that shit at the end with those guys, those big fucking guys, that shit's real. You can't tell me that's not real. And that's all people want. I mean, it's easier to believe too big. His work's real snug. And I mean, he's way more talented. I mean, he can work any style, but our work's snug enough to where there's not holes in it where you go, oh, that didn't look good at that.
Yeah, not many groaners with us.
No.
Potato.
We'll cement next year before we'll fucking miss you.
Remember that time at MGM at Disney when we did the thing, they opened the show with us in the back and you spiked Mysterio into the thing. And I heard the Associated Press call the office because they thought that was a shoot. They thought we really were Vince's guys taking over.
People actually were watching that live and called. There was like 90-something calls.
Because instead of doing the normal opening with the fireworks and all that stuff, they just cut to
But they kind of ran with the cops type. They ran with the camera wasn't in place. They were running as they came around. It was like you guys were just dropping something backing up. Remember?
They were real specific because at that time too, Turner's Television he wasn't R-rated like Vince.
Right.
Like Vince went. So you couldn't hit a guy with a baseball bat. So the guy would be down, and then the camera would come, and then you just drop the bat.
Right.
And you hear the clink clink thing. We were using aluminum bats. It was the implied violence, but it was effective. Even more effective, maybe.
I mean,
but like when you spike, people still talk about when you spiked Ray Ray to the side of that trailer, man.
Yeah, because that was which it was. And I mean, thank God, I didn't hurt Ray, but I mean, Ray was like, "No, do it. Throw me hard as you can." Ray don't give a Ray wants to drop by.
Yeah, he is too.
Yeah, he is good for him.
What made the NWO work in your mind, and why hasn't it been able to be duplicated to this day?
Well, I mean, I hate to use the same redundant term. I just think that it was organic. It was at the right. It just everything. Never in the history of wrestling really has a guy that top jumped. Like, just showed up on a show. Like Luger jumped, but I think that but I think Scott jumping and then like a couple of days later, like me jumping, that was the first time. We were basically two of McMahon's top 5 guys. So, I mean.
Well, that last loop, remember how we said, God, he's still not selling?
Yeah.
We were making the last couple of towns, it was like Philly, Hershey double shot on Saturday or so. And Sunday.
I ain't doing that fucking double shot. Fuck that.
And Sunday we're in the garden and Vince and Pat come to the towns and everything is sold out. He's the main event. I'm semi-main event. We feel, not being marks, but we're part of the reason people are there. The way they did it back then, if you did interviews for the town, that meant you were high up on the card. And that meant you would go to the guys who were on early in the match and go, hey, look, if you didn't do an interview, that means you go about 6-7 minutes and get out of there. Don't go 30 minutes because it's a good house and we go to the ring at 11:30. But
because I give us,
never,
the time we showered, I gave us maybe an hour and a half at the bar, which is unacceptable.
No. But yeah, I remember that he never sold.
No, he never sold, man. He never
sold.
And knowing him, now like the way I know him, it's just like you can't expect it. He's going to no sell everything.
But I think he did the no sell oversell when he did the Razor Diesel guys.
Yeah, when they tried to bring them back, the bogus ones.
I mean, that wasn't really it.
But it was me, Ask Cain and Fear No Evil, or whatever that was.
I thought that was like, people asked me about that. I thought made me feel like Elvis, man. Yeah. Remember where were we? That was the time we walked out of the ring when people were throwing stuff at us. Little Rock.
Which we will be next.
We told them, we said, if you people keep throwing stuff at us, we're leaving.
I remember I got a mic and I said, I can come all the way out here to this shithole town if I can blow my knee out. They were throwing beers.
So they threw stuff and we left out of the building.
Right.
To the hotel, and then that's when Vince on his TV apparently had
that night said that
the return of Razor,
which was all we had no idea, man.
We didn't know, man.
And it
phone rang in the hotel room.
The phone first thing was, this is back in the beeper days, and the old term, your beeper blowing up. I mean, it's like it's all 404 numbers. 911, 911, 911. Fuck you. Then our telephone starts ringing.
Were you guys surprised that Zbyszko got so over when he feuded with you guys?
Feuded with him?
Right.
I've said this on the other interview. I'm a huge fan of Larry Zbyszko. He helped me when I was in the AWA and was nobody, but kind of looked the part. I was a big cowboy-looking dude then, and Zbyszko was the top heel. And I went 15-minute Broadway with him in Winnipeg in front of 15,000, biggest crowd I'd ever been in front of at that point. And Zbyszko could have buried me and I wouldn't have known the difference. But he didn't. He made me look great the whole match. And I said it on the other interview, I'll say it now. The detail thing that he said, just like coming through the crowd, was a big detail that a lot of people would have missed on that NWO initial appearance. Usually on Broadway, the guys counting down the time, 10, 9, and then, the referee will go 1, 2, 3, ding, ding, the bell ring. And every babyface I've ever seen before goes, like, what happened? Zbyszko was laying there and he goes, jump up like you won. And I never forgot that. And I jumped up like, yeah. Because everybody else goes, like, what happened? Did I win? And he said, jump up like I did. Boom. And it was, it's one of those things that stuck in my mind. And it was cool to go back and be no longer a young boy, have some influence. And plus, he's live. And then I used to shoot angles with Zbyszko during commercials. I'd toothpick him during a commercial because we're standing out there for 2 minutes. You got to do something. Zbyszko was over. They were chanting Larry for an announcer. And I was trying to show Bischoff that we needed guys to work with.
If it wasn't Zabisco, it was always Murdoch. Those were two guys.
Murdoch. We
Murdoch.
turned Dusty NWO up. Everybody who ever helped me, I always tried to, show respect back. That's how it worked when I broke in.
TitleMatchNetwork.com